Okay, so if there's one video that you really need to make sure that you understand, it's this one, because I'm going to go through this problem with you. And then the next problem after this is very similar to this one, but I want you to do that one on your own, and then we'll go through the rest. But this is asking for you to write an equation of a line that passes through that point and is perpendicular to the line given by this line. But before we get into that, how can we know this? Okay, first of all, this format here looks familiar. Sorry, that's something that we've already seen. But there was a pattern going on here that we noticed about the slopes. I want to take it back to this. If you didn't catch on to the pattern here, now I'm going to fully go into it. So the slope of, so this is the original line. Here is the new line, right? A transformation happened. But if I actually extended these lines here, and let's do this blue one. What do you notice that happens between these two lines? They are perpendicular. They create a 90-degree angle. So what could we conclude about perpendicular lines and their slopes? Let's look at their slopes. The original line slope was -2/5. The new slope was... The slope of the new line is 5/2. Now, if you look at these two slopes here of these two lines, what do we notice? They have the same numbers, 5 and 2. And we talked about reciprocals. Remember, if you have a number 2/5, the reciprocal of that is 5/2. So for one, these are reciprocals of one another. Second thing is, another thing we went over is, let's say you have the number 3. The opposite of 3 is -3. So you notice that one is negative, one is positive over here. It doesn't say it, but it doesn't have a negative, so it's positive. So two lines that are perpendicular to one another, what we could say about their slopes of perpendicular lines is they are opposite reciprocals. This is important. Write it down. So going back to this here, we are using a format from like 1 or 2 lessons ago, where you have an HK, you have y minus k equals m for your slope, x minus h. This is in that format, but now they're asking us write an equation of a line that passes through this point, but it's perpendicular to this line. So let's say this is the graph for this line right here. What's the line that's perpendicular to that line that's going to give me that 90-degree angle? Well, how do you do that? Well, for one, use this here, this point. So now that's going to be y, and since x is, we'll get to that one, y minus 3. Remember, you put your y value next to your y. We're going to skip the slope part right now. We're going to get back to that in a second. And this is minus -9. But this becomes positive. So y minus 3 equals something, x plus 9. Okay. Now, what did I just say about reciprocals? Oh, no. What did I say about slopes of perpendicular lines? So if this equation is going to be perpendicular to this equation, then the slope that goes here needs to be opposite of the original slope here. So the original slope is positive. So I know that it needs to be opposite of that. So my answer is going to be negative here. And it needs to be the reciprocal of the original slope given here. So this is going to be my answer. This line here is perpendicular to this line. It crosses through this point. And that's that. So go ahead and do the next example, or you can also put in your answer here and then do the next one. Looks just like it, but different numbers. You should be pausing this video. If you haven't paused this video, pause the video, go back to this example, complete it, and then come back. All right. Now that you're back, you should have paused. Now that you're back, the official theorem is lines are perpendicular if and only if their slopes are opposite reciprocals. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So what I want you to do here is to match these up. Again, remember that you can just slide these on top of one another. Tell me which match with one another. It says match each line with a perpendicular line. This belongs to somebody here. Okay, it's perpendicular to somebody. How do you know, though? What you want to look at, how are you going to be able to tell? Well, what you want to look at is the slopes. Really, you're focusing here on slope, slope, slope. Which of these slopes are opposite reciprocals? Which one is positive and then negative and then flipped? So pause and complete this activity. If you didn't pause me and you didn't complete this activity, you better go back and do it. Now's your chance. But once you go back to this video, the next slide is this slide here. Your goal here is to write an equation for any line perpendicular to this line L and sketch the graph. So what do you need in order to be successful for this activity is you need the equation for this line, first of all. So find the slope. So some steps here, find slope. Ooh, right. Oh, you don't even need to write the, okay, find the slope, pick a point, and write an equation. That's for this line. Once you have that, pick another point. Any point. And then change your slope. So that it reflects, so that it is a perpendicular line, and that's what's gonna go here. Okay, I want to know what's this, like, basically what's the slope of this, what's the equation of this line here, because this is perpendicular to this line. Okay, all right, once you're done with that, try your best, and then it's the cool down. And when for the cool down, you're writing the equation of a line that passes through -4, 1 and perpendicular to this line here. Okay, after that, you're done. If you have any questions, please message me.